BUSY. That's right, busy. Yeah. We've got a question on Instagram already from Olivia. Could they still be swollen, or is it too long post-op? Sorry if I missed something. Oh, I've got a question, JJ. Nearly a year post-op thigh lift and they look rubbish. Okay. Nice question. There you go. There you go, guys. Nearly a year post-op thigh lift and they look rubbish. Right, Olivia, you know what I'm going to say, don't you? Always best to talk to your surgeon, Olivia, because they know what's going on. So I think that is the number one point of call to go to. And you know, a year is a good length of time, Olivia. So you have left at least a year. So you need to talk to your surgeon to see whether they'll do some revisions or whatever the rubbish nature of the look is, to see if they can make it look any less rubbish. But yeah, that's what I would do. I'll go and see my surgeon and say, look, they look rubbish, mate. Brogan, hashtag Ask JJ. Thank you for that. Very impressed. How long does it take for implants under the muscle to drop? I had a lift and implants 3 months ago, and they're dramatically asymmetrical, as if one hasn't dropped yet. Do I just wait? I normally say things start to settle at 3 months, Brogan, and it is always worse when they are under the muscle. So it is not uncommon for them to take longer to settle or drop, or whatever you want to call it. And it's also not uncommon for them to be asymmetrical. So I wouldn't panic at 3 months, although 3 months is my normal time frame for when things start to settle. So I think now's the sort of time you could get into negotiations with your surgeon. I'm never quite sure if you're my patient or not, because I'm not sure who's who here. Brogan, I do have Brogans, but I'm not sure if it's you. But anyway, Kimberly says hello. Hi, Kimberly. What's all this heart's going on? So yes, so talk to your surgeon. If it's me, talk to me. 3 months, I would sort of start discussions. And you know what I normally say is, depends on how bad it is. If it's way off, you might start possibly maybe thinking about the revisions at 3 months, but it's early. It's early. 3 months is the earliest you would think about doing things, to be honest with you. If it's not way off, and particularly if it's starting to get better, Brogan, I would encourage you to leave it as long as you can for it to settle. Now, the one thing you should be aware of is some places have revision policies of certain periods of time, you know, 6 months, 12 months, or whatever. So you don't want to leave it 7 months and then decide you want a revision and find out they had a 6-month revision policy. So that's something to bear in mind. But I think most people have a longer than 3 months revision policy. It's usually 6 months is the shortest. So yeah, I wouldn't be too worried, Brogan, at the moment, because you can be surprised that people. I've seen people at 8 months, you know, and still not quite, you know, at 12 months or 18 months. It's much better. So it does take a while. It does take a while, Brogan. So try not to get too disheartened and stick close to your surgeon. If I'm your surgeon, stick close to me. If I'm not your surgeon, stick close to whoever the surgeon was. Miss Karina Bean, now what could be causing pain at a BAM incision? Site after nearly a year post-op? Nasty looking scar too. Jeez, what's BAM? BAM. BAM. What could that be? Breast augmentation mastopexy? BAM. Buttock and midriff. I don't know what BAM is, Karina Bean. I'm sorry. I'm showing my ignorance here. I'm sorry. I don't know what BAM is. Anyway, should we just say incision? At your incision, a nearly a year, what could be causing pain? Yeah, you do. I mean, pain's a bit of a strong term. You do get discomfort for some time afterwards. And you know, when I had my hernia repair, I was getting twinges easily for a year. Twinges, I'd say. I wouldn't say pain. So nasty looking scar as well. That's again, I don't think. Are you my patient, Karina? If you are, then I'll see you. But if you're not, again, speak to your surgeon. But yeah, a year is a good length of time to wait. So if you have got persistent pain at your scar, it might be worth looking to see if there's a problem. Sometimes you get things called trigger points, a little point of the scar, which is painful. Might be a little nerve caught up in the scar or something like that, if you're getting persistent pain at a year. So that might be worth looking at, Karina. Talk to your surgeon. If I'm your surgeon, talk to me. Sabotage 80. Hi, JJ. I've seen another surgeon advertising an invisible scar technique, breast surgery. Would you happen to have an opinion on this? Yeah, I mean, well, the first thing I'd say, Sabotage 80, is that obviously there's got to be a scar somewhere, unless they're going to sort of rub cream or somehow get the implant to sort of go through your skin somehow. So, so there's got to be a scar somewhere. But there are some techniques where you can hide the scar, notably the armpit. So the armpit is, no scar on the chest. And the other one is the tuba. The tuba is the transumbilical breast augmentation. So the scars in your belly button. And you can put breast implants in that way. Now, they have to be saline implants to put in through the belly button, because you have to put them in flat and then inflate them. So we don't really tend to do that in this country, but that would be classed, I guess, as an invisible scar, although obviously it's visible in your belly button. Maybe they're talking about, you have to see what they're talking about. I mean, it's a bit, you can't say invisible. Well, to be fair, the Sabotage, often when the scars settle, they're hard to see. I won't say invisible, because if you look closely enough, you usually can see something, but you do fade pretty well from any of the incisions, to be honest. They've all got pros and cons. So, transaxillary, infraareolar, or inframammary. Inframammary in some ways is sometimes thought of as being sort of more obvious because it's on the chest, but it gives the best access. That's why I do that one, and it fades really well. So, if it fades well, then it's hard to see it. But it won't be an invisible scar, Sabotage. It will probably be a transaxillary, I would have thought. And the problem with transaxillary for me is I like the fact that the scar is hidden in the armpit. Obviously, I like that because, if I said to you, do you want the scar hidden in your armpit? You'd probably say, yes, please. The problem I've got is I find it hard to get the cleavage right, because it's quite far away from the armpit and you're doing it blind. I worry about bleeding. It's hard to get that right. So for me, I find it hard. But I do know people who seem to get good results with it. So I don't think it's necessarily a bad technique. It's just, for me, I get better results with the inframammary. So go with someone who's getting good results from whatever scar they're using. Olivia, I don't think my surgeon will do a revision as he's in North Cyprus. Right then. Well, I think it doesn't matter where you are, Olivia. You should be willing to help out your patients wherever you are, whether in North Cyprus or whatever. I would have thought. It's Mr. Khan that's my surgeon. I'll get in contact with him. Thank you. Good. Oh, Brogan. Sorry, what was that? What were you saying? Oh, under the muscle to drop and had a lift in about 3 months ago. Yeah. Get in contact with him. Work close with him. But as I say, I won't be too worried at this point, Brogan. Breast augmentation mammoplasty. Oh, that's not a letter. You can't call it BAM. Honestly, breast augmentation mammoplasty. What was a funny scar? You got a horrible scar. Yeah. So yeah, again, Karina, talk to your surgeon. If it's me, talk to me. Evening. Recommend you buy a group. Can you do a apronectomy while awake? Thank you for nice to be recommended by a group. So awake is pushing it. So I wouldn't say awake. Local and sedation is the way that we can do a lot of stuff, and you can do an awful lot under local and sedation. And you can certainly do a tummy tuck under local and sedation. Using the term apronectomy, Amy Lou, makes me think that maybe it's a bigger tummy tuck than just a normal tummy tuck. Apronectomy is usually a term we use for someone with a significant apron. So I might be a bit wary about doing that under local and sedation. So you're not going to be awake either way. You're going to be sedated. So you're going to be sort of asleep, if you like. The question is whether you've got a machine breathing for you or not, sort of thing. But it might be possible, Amy. It might be possible. This is for uplift. Sorry, Sabotage. What was the question again? Another surgeon, invisible scar for uplift. Oh, crikey. Well, good luck with that. Oh, sorry, I thought you were talking about breast implants. Oh, I've never heard of that, Sabotage. God, if you find out what the invisible scar for uplift is, Sabotage, let me know. Because the problem with an uplift, or the thing about an uplift, you have to move the nipple. You can't do an uplift without moving the nipple, or at least you're not going to get very good lift without moving the nipple. And therefore, you need a scar around the nipple. Now, it does fade, but there's definitely a scar around the nipple for any uplift that I know. Lindsay's here. Right, I'm going to go to because Instagram is kicking off. So what we got here, Jade, what's the highest BMI you could do any kind of surgery on? Hope that makes sense. Well, Jade, you opened it up there. One of my questions that I had was on BMI. But if you're going to say what's the highest BMI you do any kind of surgery on, Jade, now obviously people do surgery to get people's BMIs down. So you do, so-called bariatric or weight loss surgery on people with high BMIs. That's why they're having the surgery. So I'm sure they do BMI. I don't know what that would be. I don't do that sort of surgery. So the surgery I do is normally breast and body contouring following, often following bariatric surgery. So once they've lost weight, so then you really need to be stable and comfortable with your weight. And then you're looking at 30 is the sort of advised BMI. What's the highest BMI you could do? I mean, it's not really advisable to sort of think what's the highest. One of my questions here, I'll go into it now, Jade, is why can't I have a BBR with a BMI of 37? And I think 37 is too high. Some people in some places will be strict. And if they're strict, usually we go on a BMI of 30. Now, I'm not strict on 30, but I would like to see it reducing. So particularly if you had a BMI of 42 or 37 and you've reduced it down to 32, for instance, then I think I'll be a bit more amenable. But I would say to you, you're going to get a better result with less complications if you can get it down lower. But, it can be above 30, but certainly I don't think you'd want to go above 35. And you'd probably want to be like 33, 32, 31 sort of would be, you don't really want to, I think 37 is too high. So as I say, I haven't got a set number on it because it depends on the trend and it depends on you, if you want to lose weight. But sometimes people say, look, I'm happy at this weight. I don't want to lose any weight. Then you could have a discussion and just say, look, you're going to have a higher risk of complications and, balance that up. Khan says, hello, long time no see, Khan, although I think I saw you last week. So retract that. Nice to see you, Khan. Jade, what's the lowest BMI you do surgery on? How to word that? The lowest BMI you do surgery on. Okay, well, yeah, low BMI is also a problem. So that's one the other day, BMI 16. So that is a problem with wound healing. And again, it's a trend. So if you're losing weight, then you're in what's called catabolic state. So you're breaking down your body, basically. So you're not going to heal your wounds very well. So you don't really want to be in a catabolic state. You want to be stable and comfortable with your weight, bottom line. But you don't want to be too low with your BMI. Kimberly says, hi. Right, what's going on here? Oh, God, we've got a question on Instagram. Connie Gray, opinions on Twilight Anesthesia. I think it's great. I think it's really good. So for things like breast augmentation, we did a breast lift this morning. Fantastic, absolutely brilliant. So I think it's really good. And the main thing is recovery is quicker. But what I always say to patients is that you might feel a bit of tugging, pushing and pulling. You might find it uncomfortable, in which case you can always convert to GA. There's no problem to convert to GA if you're uncomfortable. But for me, I'm still a bit wary in terms of tummy tucks and things. I know that people are doing tummy tucks under Twilight, but I'm still a bit wary about tummy tucks, a bit wary about big breast reductions. But certainly breast lifts, breast augmentations, things like that works really well. Recovery is really good. So yeah. What's Khan said? Missed a few weeks, had my house broken into and my car stolen. Oh my God. Khan, what a nightmare. I don't blame you for missing a few weeks. What a nightmare. Flipping heck. Do you know what, Khan? I was thinking about this. I was talking to my wife about this, doing a pre-mortem. I don't know if you heard of a pre-mortem. Thinking about things before they happen, because that's scary, isn't it? And you just think, God, does it take that to make you go and get an alarm system or, put the alarm on at night or things like that, things about the car? Because you do sometimes see the cars with the crook lock on it, the old-fashioned crook lock. I had one years ago, but I don't know, are they coming back, those crook locks? Because, maybe that's the answer, get a crook lock. Is that what they're called? Saw one that sort of looked like a baseball bat. Obviously, I guess to attack the person if they. Not that I'm condoning that, but bit of rice there. Where did that come from? Okay. Right. Yeah, you become complacent. I bet you do. It's been used in some horrific crimes. Oh my God. Getting worse, this con. Katie, would you say you can get good results with just lipo? Yes, I would, Katie. There's certain areas which are good for lipo, Katie. The hips, the flanks, the sides, the outer thighs, the male chest, the lateral chest on a female. Those are good. And the thing about lipo is it doesn't remove skin. So it's good in areas where the skin recoils. In other areas, in my experience, the skin doesn't recoil so well. The arms, the inner thighs, the central abdomen, the skin doesn't recoil, so you can potentially left with hanging skin. Now, people do talk about vaser liposuction, which is or other sorts of smart lipo, and there's all sorts of assisted forms of liposuction, and they say they cause some skin retraction. So that could be something if you had in those areas, but liposuction alone, I feel, doesn't give good results in the central abdomen, the arms, and the inner thighs. But it does give good results on the hips, the flanks, the outer thigh, and the lateral chest, and the male chest gynecomastia. But yeah, definitely get good results with lipo. What kind of surgery can you do on men? Whatever you want, name it. No, I do obviously mole cysts, split earlobes, there's tribal piercings. In terms of the body contouring, it's usually tummy tucks and gynecomastia. But you can do thigh lifts and arm lifts, etc., for significant weight loss. But tummy tucks and gynecomastia is the majority of work. Katie says thank you. Thank you, Katie, for asking a question. Now, I think I've got an Instagram question. Now, what's this? I have BA with HP 500 cc's. Is upper pole fullness achieved by implant placement or individual anatomy? Good question. Upper pole fullness is based on a combination of your anatomy and the shape and well, the profile mainly. The shape would be round, so the round implants give more upper pole fullness than the teardrop, and the profile. So 500cc high profile is a pretty full implant, but as you say, it might be based on your anatomy as well. So sometimes if people say, I want very full breasts, I want the fake look, the porn star look, or whatever you want to call it, if they've got quite a bit of breast tissue, it can be hard to achieve that, because a round implant with your own natural breast tissue on the top can actually, your breast tissue can soften that look and make it look more natural, which you might not want. So if someone's got nothing, completely flat chested, and you put a big round implant in, it'll look like a big round breast, which, if that's what you want, that's fine. So that's why you can't really say that implant's going to give that look, because you've got to add the implant to your breast. So it does depend on your breast shape as well. So if you're not achieved, I'm assuming you're not really feel like you've achieved the fullness you want. Who is this? Ania Kennedy. I'm assuming you haven't filled the fullness you want with the 500cc high profile, but you might have had quite a bit of breast tissue before you start, which might be sitting on top of the implant and giving it a softer look. That might be the case. Right, losing control of the chat. Can you have implants if you have asthma or a chronic illness? Yes, you can, of course. I mean, if your asthma is poorly controlled, you'd probably want to get it more under control, or if your chronic illness is poorly controlled. But if it's well controlled, then absolutely fine, Rebecca, absolutely fine. Do you conduct surgeries only at hospital or your own clinic? I conduct them at mainly at hospitals. I do local anesthetic cases at my own clinic, which means mole cysts, the earlobe surgery I was talking about, some breast minor surgery. But most of the more significant surgery, your breast lifts and reductions and implants and tummy tucks, are done at one of the hospitals. With here's an E again. With high profile implants, is fuller upper pole achieved by implant plate? Oh, that was the question. Okay, yeah. So it's by the profile of the implant and the anatomy. Sarpri SX. Hi, apologies if this has been asked, but would a FDL address back and bra fat sagging? Many thanks. No, it wouldn't. It hasn't been asked, Sarpri, And no, it wouldn't. It would not address back and bra fat sagging. I don't know what bra fat sagging is. Is that here under the bra? No, I don't think it would, because it would tighten the central abdomen. So it wouldn't do anything to the back. But you could combine it with liposuction maybe, but no, it wouldn't address that. Do you do breast fat transfer, and how much usually stays? Good question, Jada. I do breast fat transfer, and I aim for it all to stay. A lot of people say, oh, 50%, etc., things like that. I aim for 100%, but I do small volumes. So, I would say 80 to 100 cc's would be a big one for me. And so that's quite modest. If you look at an 80 to 100 cc implant, that's going to be pretty small. It's not uncommon for people to have 250, 350 cc implants. So that would take a while to get there with fat transfer. But I always aim for it all to stay. But having said that, there's often swelling. So the 50% thing, is not unreasonable, because it is often quite swollen to start with, and then it settles. So don't make any long-term decisions early on after fat grafting. Kimberly, I have 400 cc UHP under muscle. Yes, you do, Kimberly. Yes. Lisa, hi. After losing over 15 stone in weight and had FDL over 2 years ago, I now want to have a breast uplift, and I've been looking for a surgeon. I've been following you for a while, and I would like you to do the surgery. I live in Southampton. Would it be okay to travel after surgery? Yes, you would, Lisa. But I've got to be honest with you, Lisa, there's good people down your way. So, there are good people down Southampton way. Off the top of my head, I am going to say who is down Southampton way? There are definitely good people down Southampton way, and I will think of some people down there. Nigel Horlock's down there, isn't he? Anyway, there's good people. Definitely good people. Michael Cadier, is he down there somewhere? He's quite well known. I don't really know them, to be honest, but I know their names. Anyway, there are good people down there. My mate Adam's down there. So there are good people down in Southampton way. But yes, you will be able to travel after surgery, Lisa. And awesome on the 15 stone weight loss as well. Look at you. That's amazing. What's going on the Instagram? Yes, thank you. That's what I expect. I need FDL with lipo. Weight loss means I have plenty of loose skin, and the bra overhang is driving me potty. Yeah, so you probably need lipo with it. Anaya, it's me again. Thank you for your previous answer. I was very small, 34 AB, but my breasts are sitting quite low. Will that change? I'm only 3.5 weeks after my op. Bottom line, Anaya, what I would say is 3.5 weeks after your op, don't worry about it. Let it settle. Sitting low is a bit of a worry, because usually they're sitting high and then they settle in a low way. But still, the bottom line is, what I normally say to people is, don't worry, because this is where I don't think, are you my patient? If you are my patient, I'll say this to you. But even if you're not my patient, I'll say it to you, because this is what I say to people. I can't guarantee it will settle. But what I can guarantee is this isn't your final result. Your final result will take time to come. And you get an idea what it looks like at 3 months. But even then, it can take 6-12 months for it to properly come. So this isn't your final result. So that's what I would say. At 3.5 weeks, don't worry. Don't make any. I normally say to people, don't love it too much or don't hate it too much, because it's going to change. So don't go, oh, it's brilliant. Oh, my God, it's rubbish. It's going to change. So stay strong. Right, I've got a question here. Stitches or staples? I don't want staples. I think I'm right in saying this is a tummy tuck. Or is it a breast wrap? It doesn't matter, I suppose. The principle's the same. So, well, stitches, I don't use staples. I never use staples. Staples are quicker, basically, but I never use staples. So yeah, staples are uncomfortable to come out, although they do make dissolvable staples. But I don't use staples myself. I use stitches, and usually they're buried stitches, and they don't need to come out anyway. So for things like breast reductions, tummy tucks, you don't need anything removed. Anaya says thank you. Thank you, and I hope things will settle and try and stay strong with it, and I hope it'll be all right. Hybrid breast implant. I don't want the implants under the muscle. So this is a patient who has the implants under the muscle and has animation deformities every time she moves her arm. The breast moves, doesn't want them under the muscle. She's very slim. And she's actually asking about dermal matrix like Stratis um, and Integra and sorry, not Integra. Integra is more of a skin substitute. These dermal regeneration matrices that will, it's like a sheet that you can put inside, which can sort of support the breast. Now, I tend not to use that for this indication for them, from taking them away from being under the muscle, because there is people who talk about it, because the reason people have breast implants under the muscle is because if you're very slim, you worry about seeing the edges of the implants, and the muscle covers the implant up here. But you can get problems when you put it under the muscle. So if you say, well, I don't want it under the muscle, the worry is you're going to start seeing rippling and seeing the edges of the implant. So there is people talking about using things like Stratis and these dermal matrices covering the implant in them, but that's very expensive. And I'm not sure if anyone's doing it clinically. It's a nice idea. And it's certainly something I haven't done and I wouldn't particularly start doing. The main thing for these things like Stratis and these matrices is to support the breast. If you have symptomastia, if you have a web or bottoming out and things, they can be used to support the breast. But if you did want to not have the implants under the muscle, then one thing you can think about is this hybrid, the technique which people talk about, which is combining breast implants with fat grafting. And this is for people who perhaps need the implants under the muscle but don't want them under the muscle. And the fat graft can give a bit of cover in the same way that the muscle gives it a bit of cover. So that would be one option. And that can either be done at the time of the breast augmentation. So you can have a breast augmentation and a fat graft at the same time, or it can be done later. You can have breast augmentation. If you do get rippling or problems, you can do fat grafting later. Now, the problem with fat grafting is it is as I say, subtle, so it is good to combine with an implant just to give cover of the implant. It's not really used to give volume, it's used to give cover of the implant. But you can damage the implant, you can introduce infection, which if it gets to the implant might need the implant to be removed. So it's not without its potential complications. So it's something to think, and it's expensive. That's the other thing, it's expensive. So that would be an expensive operation to have implants and fat grafting. But it'd be something to consider if you were very slim and didn't want them under the muscle. The traditional thing would be to put them under the muscle. But if you don't want them under the muscle, or if you have visible rippling, fat grafting over the top is an option. Sabotage, what's your waiting list looking like at the moment, please? I think for clinics, I don't know, at Sabotage, a few weeks. For theatre, it is tricky, and certainly locally it is tricky. I've not got many lists, and I know it's a few months for things locally. I think I've probably got more up in Liverpool, but I think it's a few months. But you can always give us a ring, 0121 454 3680. I should make that a word, shouldn't I? That's what they do in New Zealand. So 0121 ask JJ or something. I have to look at a phone, but no one's got those phone keypads anymore, so that wouldn't work. Anyway, it's 454 3680. Give us a ring, Sabotage, and we will be see what your waiting list is. Look at this nice one. I had my initial chimney. I've had my initial consultation on the 8th. How long afterwards will I be able to have surgery? I have so you haven't had it yet, yeah. Well, the minimum is 2 weeks. You have to have a 2 weeks cooling off period, a bit like a credit card. So you have to wait 2 weeks. I'm assuming it's a major surgery. It's not like a mole or something, because we do moles on the day. So I'm assuming it's like, breast thing or tummy thing or something. So the minimum is 2 weeks. At the moment, as I say, it is a few months before we're booking people in anyway. So it probably be a couple of months, I think. It's a reduction, yeah. So that would be, I think it's a couple of months. But what we're saying to the hospitals, we have got patients, so can you give us lists? So we're very happy to take ad hoc lists from the hospitals. In fact, all our lists are ad hoc because I no longer have a regular list anymore. I just have them as and when. So if you you know, we might be able to do things, but who knows? We have to look at the availability. Well, that very good engagement on Facebook. I think I'll go so as to say excellent engagement on Instagram. Really, I mean that. I've got to be honest, that pulled me through because I was a bit worried about today. I didn't have many questions, but Instagram and to a degree Facebook, but really pulled me through on that. YouTube lacking behind. I think this goes on YouTube, but I don't know how a YouTube live works. But does it flash up when you follow me on YouTube or something? Or not follow me? What's it called? Subscribe. Anyway, please like and subscribe to my channel. Please share this if you found it helpful. That's what you're supposed to say, isn't it? Anyway, thank you very much, everybody, for your lovely help and support. Actually, next week, you know what? It's half term. It's half term. So I'm not going to do it next Tuesday. I'm sorry, guys. I'm sorry. I know. You'll be all right, though. We'll roll it over the Tuesday afterwards. Double the questions. It'll be massive the Tuesday afterwards. So I'll see you week on Tuesday. Good God, it's 8:30. Come on. Let's get out there. See what's on at 9. There must be something going on at 9. And I will be thanking you all. I wish I could like your comments and stuff, but I can't on this. But thank you all for your comments. And thank you, Sarpri. That's very kind. Sarpri's enjoyed. I don't know. That's very. How do you do that? I can't do anything back, but thank you. I can wave. Oh God, I can report a comment. No, I don't want to do that. And Jackie, number one fan. All right, guys, I'm going to check out of here and put my feet up. Suggest you do likewise. See you next week.